ever imagine our planet as a completely alien world? Like not just sci-fi alien, but a place where the air, the ground, even the continents were totally different.
Yeah, completely.
That's where we're diving today.
Into the deep end.
Deep into the Urantia Book's version of Earth's marine life era.
It's a fascinating perspective. It's not just like what existed, but how it all set the stage for everything after, even us.
We're talking a quarter of Earth's entire history.
It's a long time.
250 million years, 6 distinct periods in the Urantia Book.
Epic.
So, no dinosaurs yet.
Not yet.
But picture shallow seas, tons of life unlike anything today.
Oh, absolutely.
And just the first little bits of green on land.
The very first hints. Yeah. And even picturing those periods, it's hard to wrap your head around that scale of time. Like one period could be tens of millions of years.
Wow.
Civilizations could rise and fall, mountains disappear, and it's still just one period ticking by.
Okay, so no quick trips back to the Cambrian then. But if we could hop in a time machine, go back 1 billion years, what would we see? What would Urantia look like?
Well, the Urantia Book, it divides Earth's history into 5 major eras. Pre-life, life dawn, marine life, early land life, and then finally the mammalian era, which is us. But think, for 3 whole eras, it was mostly ocean life.
It makes you realize how important this marine life era really is.
Oh, absolutely. This is like the grand opening.
Exactly. Yeah.
And during this era, constant change. Not the continents as we know them, but huge land masses just crashing into each other, pulling apart for eons.
Forget GPS. You'd need a whole different map app, huh?
You'd be lost. But these shifting continents, they made huge shallow seas. And those, the Urantia Book calls those the cradle of life. Warm, sunlit, full of, single-celled organisms, but still.
It's hard to imagine those simple things leading to everything today.
It's true.
Like trying to picture the entire internet starting from one blinking cursor.
It's that kind of scale, yeah. And yet, the Urantia Book lays out this beautiful evolution. From those single cells, we get the first multicellular organisms, more than one cell, which sounds simple, but huge leap.
So from one cell to a few, things are getting complex. What's the next chapter?
The next chapter, is a good one. The Cambrian period. Life in the oceans just explodes.
This is when the Urantia Book says it's the age of trilobites, right? What's the big deal with those guys? They seem kind of basic, like sea bugs, right?
They might sound basic, but they were everywhere. For almost 300 million years, they were like the top organism. And they're fossils. They're all over, so we can tell how the continents used to be.
So trilobite fossils are like our prehistoric map, kind of?
Exactly. And they were so diverse. Thousands of species, the Urantia Book says. Some tiny, some huge, like 2 feet long.
Whoa.
Yeah. They lived everywhere in the ocean, which means it was a busy place. Nothing like the boring world from before.
So under those seas, a whole ecosystem was going wild. And the continents, they were still moving around, right?
Oh, yeah. Big time. Urantia was not a calm place back then.
I know. We think of continents as fixed now, but back then, just constant shifting and smashing.
It's wild to picture.
Imagine being there, seeing these giant land masses just rearranging.
North America was underwater, actually. And the Gulf Stream, it went all the way up to Greenland.
No way.
Yeah. So warm water up there.
Yeah.
And the Pacific Ocean. Way bigger, like covered most of the planet.
So different from now.
Completely. Even the Caribbean Sea, it was mountainous back then.
Mind-blowing. And those changes weren't just the planet, were they? The Urantia Book talks about the Ordovician and Silurian periods. More big stuff happening.
Oh, yeah. This is where the next act starts.
Yeah.
Sea levels rise, which is perfect for making limestone, and more new creatures show up.
Yeah.
Corals, sponges, jellyfish, all kinds of stuff.
Sounds crowded.
It was. But the stars of the show had to be the cephalopods.
Cephalopods, those are like the ancestors of squid and octopus, right?
You got it. And in the Ordovician, some got huge EE.
How huge?
15 feet long. Imagine a squid that big with a beak and tentacles with hooks.
That's not just some little squid anymore.
Nope. They were at the top of the food chain. But then, on top of that, you've got these volcanoes the Urantia Book mentions in Europe.
It does sound a little apocalyptic.
Right. Ash everywhere, lava, changing the whole planet, even the oceans. It's like the Urantia Book is saying, this is what made life change direction.
Wow. And it's all connected, even millions of years apart. Oh, we can't forget about the salt, though.
You're right. Huge salt deposits were forming from when lagoons dried up. And those tell us about the climate and the continents moving.
So it's like these clues left behind. It's like Earth was trying everything out, getting ready for something even bigger, you know?
And that's what takes us to the Devonian period.
Yeah.
That's when life makes the jump to land.
life on Earth in the oceans for, what, billions of years? And then the Devonian period, it's like, boom, everybody out,
Big move.
like moving out of your parents' basement, but for all of life.
The Urantia book makes it pretty dramatic, too. Oxygen levels way up, so now you can live on land if you want. And all that rock slowly turning green.
Not like our forests, though.
Right.
No big trees yet.
Different kind of forest.
Yeah.
The Urantia book describes these giant ferns, like tree-sized ferns. And weird trees, they didn't have leaves the way we think of them.
Really?
No, it's wild. Imagine how quiet those forests must have been. No leaves rustling, no birds.
A little spooky. Beautiful, but spooky. But the oceans were still busy, right? That's when fish really took over.
The age of fishes. The Devonian, they were evolving like crazy. Remember those early ones, kind of like arthropods? Now it's every kind of fish you can imagine.
Yeah.
Little guys, and then huge ones with armor, scary teeth.
Okay, now those I want to hear about. What were the big ones like?
The Urantia book talks about Dunkleosteus, up to 25 feet long. Its head was like just a battering ram, jaws that could crush, well, anything.
I'm glad we're not swimming with that. But it wasn't all teeth and armor, right? Something about the air was changing.
Right. Those forests, they were sucking up carbon dioxide, putting out oxygen, so the whole planet's changing. And there's those red sandstone deposits from then, too.
Red sandstone? That's more than just a pretty rock, isn't it? What does that tell us?
It's as the climate was changing, too. Hot, dry periods. See, it's always in flux, the Earth. Those sandstone layers, like pages from history.
Always changing. Okay, so then we get to the Carboniferous period. The Urantia book, it really gets into the swamps, giant bugs, and of course where coal came from.
Plants everywhere. Warm, humid, like you said, swamps. Everything growing, competing, and yeah, some weird creatures. Picture a dragonfly, but its wings are 30 inches across.
Oh, no thank you. That's way too big to be a bug.
That was the Carboniferous. New life on land, so evolution was trying out some strange stuff. But the coal, that's what we really remember it for.
Right. All those plants died, piled up in the swamps, and over time, boom, coal. My furnace is running on prehistory.
It's amazing when you think about it. The past, it's still with us. But things can't stay the same forever, right? Time for another big change, and this one, well,
The Permian extinction. It's almost impossible to picture how bad it was. 95% of life in the oceans, just gone. Like hitting the reset button, what could even do that?
it was a lot of things. According to the Urantia book, the continents, they finally collided, made that supercontinent, Pangaea, and then huge volcanoes, climate going crazy. Most things couldn't survive that.
It's scary how powerful nature is. But
Yeah.
then you think some things did survive.
Exactly. A few tough ones hung on, and all life after that, even us, we come from them.
That's incredible. Like, we're only here because of those Permian survivors. It makes you wonder, what if even one thing had been different back then? Would things be the same now?
It's a question worth thinking about. The marine life era, it might be over, but it's all around us. We breathe it, we power our cities with it. It's even in our own cells.
So much happened. It's a good reminder that Earth has one wild story, and we're just a tiny part of it. Well, that's our deep dive for today, but hopefully you're all a little more amazed by this planet now. Keep exploring, keep asking questions, and until next time, thanks for diving in with us.